Barbados is an island in transition. We've had 10 years of a struggling economy, severe belt tightening, and social dislocation. After a period of sustained growth and development under the last Barbados Labour Party administration, there are now 23 downgrades to our credit. This island has the unenviable record of the poorest performing economy in the region. And as we look around our country, the signs of decline and poor management are everywhere. But what is perhaps most distressing is the blow to the Barbadian psyche. A nation that used to punch above its weight now finds itself at the bottom of the table. But we have been through tough times before. Indeed, we have sought IMF assistance in the past. But because of timely intervention and astute management under Tom Adams and his team, we were able to navigate those challenges and emerge unscathed. One of the voices of that team, Dame Billy Miller, recalls the challenges at the end of the Democratic Labour Party regime in 1975 and the intervention, recovery, and leadership by successive BLP administrations.
This was another time of great need that arose. Over 400 small shops closed, and also some bigger ones in the city. Gasoline was rationed. Some will remember they had a privileged pump. I heard a man down there just remember that too. The economy was not in good shape. In 1976, the Barbados Labour Party won the government led by Tom Adams. What came to be known as the Great Combination led the way to recovery. In early 1977, listen carefully to this, Prime Minister Adams went on radio and television and told the people of this country that things were far worse than we had thought. He appealed to us all to pull in our belts a notch for a while. By 1979, things were looking up, and we were granted a second term in 1981. Between 76 and 86 were years of plenty. The Samuel Jackman Prescott Polytechnic was built, and Tom Adams' dream of an industrial highway was underway. It would connect the Grantley Adams International Airport with the Bridgetown Port, moving goods and people, and with many small towns growing up alongside it. Another pillar had been added to the economy of Barbados. For the second time, the Barbados Labour Party went into opposition in 1986. By 1991, at the beginning of a second term, the Democratic Labour Party government was collapsing due to a recession which led to mismanagement of the economy. And for the third time in 1994, the Barbados Labour Party rose, this time under Prime Minister Owen Arthur, in the greatest time of need to rescue, repair and restore the economy and the quality of life of Barbadians. In 2018, after 10 years of recession, of horrors and decline, Barbados finds itself in its greatest ever time of need. There is chaos, there is despair, and I see and hear fright again. As former Prime Minister Sir Lloyd Sandiford said, I think it was about 2 years ago, he asked the question, how did we get back here? Now, in this hour of the greatest need in my lifetime, the Barbados Labour Party must come yet again to the rescue. We must all be prepared to put our best foot forward to the task of restoring our country.
This is a new era, and there is a new team. A team that represents the best of experience and youth, energy and accomplishment.
I stand here because I was raised in a Barbados that was said to punch above its weight. A Barbados that shone as a beacon of hope in the Caribbean and in the world. A Barbados that you would be proud to walk under the Barbados banner anywhere you go in the world and say, I am a Barbadian. I stand here because I grew up in a Barbados that believed in itself. And I almost didn't have that opportunity to stand here. My mother, who is here somewhere, and I love you wherever you are, Mommy. But my mother worked behind me here at the transport board as a conductress, and my father as a bus driver. And my mother gave her blood, sweat, and tears for me to do anything that I feel I could do in this country. And back in the early 90s, when I was about to go to university, the Democratic Labour Party said that they were going to raise fees. And it cost me a year of my education because I would not be able to go. And I took a year off. This government does not keep its promises, but it surely keeps its threats, because it threatened to remove education from you, and it took 20 years for them to deliver it. An injustice on the poor people of this country. I almost wasn't here. But I decided that for my mother's sake and my community's sake, that I had to struggle through university to be able to make something of myself, because Barbados gave me that opportunity.
Like Kirk Humphrey, Marcia Cadell has taken the decision to give up secure employment with international and regional agencies to offer herself in the service of her country.
I was born and I grew up in St. Clair Road in Haggett Hall. And I went to Belmont Primary School, which is now, unfortunately, one of the worst performing primary schools in this country. Because, Trevor, it sits in a community that requires, as so many communities across St. Michael do, special kinds of investment. And Trevor Prescott has been fighting the good fight for a long time to bring certain goods and services and recognition and support to the people of that constituency, but the fight continues. But as I went to Belmont Primary School, one of the things that I benefited from in this country, as Kirk said to you tonight, is people who cared, who, despite the fact that we all came from humble circumstances, always looked around and looked out for you. And even though they didn't have much, if you had less, they would share with you. Because in our communities, you had to go to school and learn. That was the only way up and out. But unfortunately, we are saddled with a Democratic Labour Party government that, having come up and out, some of them want to remove the opportunity from you to do the same. But this Barbados Labour Party will not tolerate that. And as Kirk has said to you, this is a Barbados Labour Party that believes that education is at the core of making people's lives better in Barbados. It has always been the path to social mobility, and it must become that again.
The Barbados Labour Party team is a blend of accomplished individuals, many of whom bring previous experience in matters of governance.
The tragedy in this Barbados tonight, you have to understand, is that in this Barbados, every dollar that is lost to corrupt practices is a dollar that could have been spent on you and your development. You have to understand that every dollar lost to corrupt practices in Barbados is a dollar that could have put a garbage truck on your street, which, if you live on my street, is a rat-infested street because of the garbage not being collected for 4 weeks at a time. You have to understand that every dollar lost to corrupt practices is a dollar that could have been spent on making the Queen Elizabeth Hospital more efficient, better fit for purpose. You have to understand that every dollar that we have lost to corrupt practices is a dollar that could have sent your son or your daughter to the University of the West Indies. Now, I came here tonight with a very simple and subtle message. I know Mia Amor Motley much better than you do. I have had the experience of working with her in cabinet and out of cabinet. I have had the experience of sitting with Mia Motley as we prepared the manifesto of Barbados. I sat alongside Mia Motley as she met with every single sector, from the church right back through to agriculture, tourism, you name it. I sat with Mia Motley, and I know that Mia Motley will not be a leader in name and title only, but Mia Motley will be a prime minister in deed and action as well.
I give you Mia Amor Motley.
When 2 weeks ago we went to the Radisson and we had an evening with our elders, tears came to my eyes because I have the fortune of leading a party that has over 200 years of experience. And yes, I want to thank people like Errol Barrow, who helped raise me as a young child and who gave me a sense of Barbados. I consider myself lucky to have had the opportunity to interact with every one of the prime ministers of this country. And I believe that in them there was a message that we must uphold, that Barbados is greater than any one of us. It is for this reason that my heart bleeds tonight as we stand at the crossroads. No one who knew the work of Grantley Adams and Errol Barrow and all who came after them could understand how, as Billy reminded us in the words of Sir Lloyd Sandiford, how did we get back here? The notion that our country can be referred to in a Google search for sewage and brown water in the sea. The notion that we could have pensioners standing up at bus stops for hours upon hours waiting for a bus to get to St. Thomas Cindy, to get to St. Joseph Dale, to get to Connelltown, Peter, is a sight of Barbados that I cannot accept and will not accept as leader of this party. It is not right. My friends, I've come here tonight to tell you that I don't know how a prime minister can go to sleep every night knowing what is happening on the South Coast. I don't know how a prime minister can go to sleep every night without going to visit the businesses and the workers and the people and the tourists who are on the South Coast. I will consult. I will listen. But there comes a time when we will make a decision, because we have first and foremost to lead. So consult, listen, but decide. Consult, listen, but decide. And that is the leader that I shall give you. I ask you on May 24th to let us start a journey to renew this country's life. And I ask that you don't let us walk alone, but that you hold our hands and that you walk with us, because we know that we can be to our children and grandchildren what our grandparents were to us, to give us a better Barbados, indeed to give us the best Barbados that can be. God bless you, each and every one.